placements. And now, going up into Game 4, what augments will we have? What items in the carousel will we have? You have no idea, but here it goes, Superbrawl round 4, Counterfeit. I'm very excited and delighted to go into another lobby, and this one still has amazing players from previous game. Now, we got legends like Darkest, Nocrum, Kubixon, Deisik, and so many winners from previous rounds. This lobby is gonna have a lot of surprises.
Yeah, I mean, all we're looking for here, really, is to know to see if they can keep up their undefeated streak. I mean, Deisik is just behind them, but, you know, Nocrum right now is on 24 points overall, the most points you could get. It's notable in particular that you don't need to get this many points to get through to day 2, and you don't get necessarily an advantage in doing so. Nocrum is just styling on everybody else in the competition by being this dominant.
Yeah, again, in this round, we're expecting to see so many crazy plays. We have winners of previous games, Deisik, Nocrum, Kubixon, and Odesza, who sadly didn't have that much of a lovely. And of course, Darkest and Odesza that doesn't have very lucky ending with the 2 HP, trying to counter it, but again, coming back into this lobby, we hope he's able to get back into the game. Now, we see a double mage or a triple mage potential with the trainers maybe on this. This seems like a trainer start for Nocrum, by the way. He has the Lulu, he has the Nami, but he decides to go with the double tank Kench, and he also has the Lilia for the early triple mage composition. You're only missing either a Heimerdinger for the triple mage or a Tristana to maybe bump it up with the trainer opening, but I would love to see a Heimerdinger right now, and he has the perfect trainer opening with the mages.
Yeah, we'll see what augment ends up coming through here, but you're right, it must be very tempting for Nocrum right now to be, you know, to just go through and immediately try and fish for that Heimerdinger, get the step up, as the augments are actually going to be pretty fascinating for them here. They could go for the featherweights and try and build around the Tristana comp specifically.
Yup, Astral Heart might be his augment pick right here, or he might be going for the roll, but featherweight, surprisingly. Okay, with the double Tom Kench. Might be putting up the Lilia, though. Exciting. I mean, featherweight's one, in my opinion, gives a lot of value if you can use it correctly, but look at that. We got a Celestial Blessing, 1 Tiny Titans, 1 Band of Thieves, so almost no identical augments this round, also on a weak spot. Actually, the only identical comp that we have is the, the only identical augment we have is the Band of Thieves, 1 on Darkest and on Arrow.
Yeah, and of course, we saw Darkest doing some amazing stuff before. Yeah, and this one, yeah, we've got, as I said, a big variety of picks. Deisik picking up the weak spot is interesting. So we've got a decent spread of different kinds of pickups here. As we check in with Arrow, of course, we haven't seen a ton of Arrow so far today, but they have got one of those Thieves Gloves in. And they've got themselves a decent Jade Guardian setup. It's not going to set the world on fire quite yet, but it's still strong enough to hang with these early boards.
Yeah, and the only issue that you'd have with the Thieves Gloves in the early game is if the item you get is quite unlucky, there's not much you can do with it. A Zephyr and a Negatron Cloak on an Ash will not provide any value at the start. Yes, the Zephyr might be very, very useful in the late games with the Shroud, but in the early game item slammings, this is possibly one of the worst outcomes you could get on the Thieves Gloves. Imagine this was a static with a recurve or something, the outcome would have been totally different. But that's the beauty of the Thieves Gloves. Is it the same items, or is it a visual bug for me? Another Zephyr with Negatron?
No, I think they've just been that lucky. What? I suppose early on, it's a little tricky here, because the Zephyr, you know, it's taking out a not significant portion of the opposing board, but I think the big problem you've got for Arrow is you don't have anybody else who's going to be pouring out damage, really, as of yet. You're not willing to commit in for a Hextech Gunblade. We haven't even got the Chain Vest being thrown on anybody. So I think Arrow is going to be, relatively happy to have a moderately strong board, but still lost streak through. Unfortunately, Deisik's going to make that a little bit tricky to pull off.
Yeah, and now the Zephyr is going to come into value because you're playing against the board that has only 3 units. Yes, a weak spot will provide some value against the Jades because of the counter healing, but what can you do with it without units on the board to make use of that counter healing? So here we're going to see that Deisik might suffer a little bit against even killing a single unit from his board against Arrow, and that's the thing, he does not get a single unit, losing an astonishing amount of around 8 HP in a single round. That will hurt Deisik a lot in case he wants to continue and vouch for the top 4.
If I was going to make a guess, we're seeing Deisik picking up the early Astral would tend to suggest we might well be headed towards a Varus direction again. Certainly the weak spot would tend to support that. Yeah, we've got the Nidalee as well as a pretty decent item holder until that actually happens. Then we look at that gold as well.
He might have actually got a little bit excited from the Kubixon in the last game with the reroll and the Varus winning him almost a tremendous amount of 15 or 16 wins until the last round. He has not lost a single round with the Varus reroll comp, but sadly, he has not been able to get even a score or two. Now, Vladimir 2, he's a nice front line as a unit, but not that much if he's not a mage, and not that much if you can give him some HP to survive to cast twice. So I think Deisik is going to be losing almost every single round here, because with a weak spot, without even an AD-based unit to make use of it, he will lose a lot until the Krugs, and that's nice. You need to kill as many units as you can, but he's not getting any units. He's losing a lot of HP, so Deisik is in danger this game.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out on the health again, as we saw from before. Well, the previous game did sort of set us a little bit right in that the lower place players don't necessarily have to get blown up. I think it's, again, we're in this kind of continuum here of being, do we have boards which are strong enough in the mid game to keep people from going to the hyper late game? Because if we don't, then we end up in a situation where the people who are low early on get left behind by the sheer strength of the board, and that's why they plummet out so quickly.
Yeah, and now we're looking at, as Darkest gets another glove, may be able to make a Hand of Justice on the early round to give... I'm not sure what his board is right now, but if we could take a look at Darkest so we can see who's the Hodge going to be, and it might be going on the Ash then, I guess. Okay. Maybe slamming with the Dragon Mancer to apply for some damage is pretty nice, and being 5th place with around 9 gold is not the best thing you'd be looking for, but it might be a Dragon Mancer for the early until he either transitions into either Legends or 6 Jades with the Shio-Yu once he drops.
Yeah, I mean, I like what we've got going on for Darkest right now. I mean, they put together a pretty solid board, which is, it's more or less what you would like. A lot of the time, you'd ideally have the set here working as a item carrier for Shio-Yu later on, which is not the case right now.
Oh, look at this.
Uh-oh, it's like looking in a mirror.
It's almost identical, except the gap between the Leona, which allows Darkest so they can have double Guardians for the effect for the front line to survive, and of course the 2-star on the set and the 2-star on the Ash. You're looking at a mirror, except that this mirror is bigger, stronger, with more units, and they will not lose a single unit. Counterfeit.
Oh boy. So Arrow, we haven't checked in for a little bit, we'll lose out there, and we are left in an interesting predicament here. Salvyyy and Odesza are both undefeated coming to the end of stage 2. Kubixon, of course, up at the top has managed to tiny Titans their way to the top of the table, but it's these two with the 2 identical win streaks. I wonder if we might actually get them against each other in this round. That would be perfect.
Yep, that is the beauty of the item grab bag. This augment, in my opinion, is really, really underrated. That completed item that you get makes you able to survive quite early, and with the fact that he had an item slot, he's able to get 3 items. A Dragon's Claw and the BT on this set will give him a lot of survivability, and the Hodge on the Ezreal will make him survive for so long. Now, the Thresh is really effective at shutting down the Ezreal a little bit, but still, with that set, he's very unlikely to die. You've got the shields on him, you've got the constant heals, but the fact that you were able to shut down the Ezreal for the early game with that hook will definitely hurt Odesza.
Alright, this win streak is at an end. Hopefully you can check across with Salvyyy. Oh no, Salvyyy did win the round already, so it's just down to Odesza. But yeah, so we've got Salvyyy coming in as our Golden Spatula Cup #1 winner, back here just to try and impress the rest of the field, keeps the win streak going from the early game, and coming out of stage 2, 30 gold in the bank, a huge win streak as well, very well set up for stage 3.
That's almost like the 4th Jade board I've seen right now, if I'm not mistaken, with all of them just mixing up the Guardians. One of them playing with the Leona, and then back again to, if I'm not mistaken, Darkest swapping to the Thresh. And now we got the first place so far with 100 HP, Salvyyy rocking it with 5 wins, but his Guardian choice was Braum, one of the strongest Guardians that you can have on the board, almost unkillable. No! Look at the tone. We might be having either a Revel or a Whisper out of come of those, and it might be going for a Swain or a Deja, depending on what comes out of this tome. Please make it a Revel Deja or a Revel Swain.
I don't know if Salvyyy's going to pop this one right away. They've currently got just the 7 traits out. They'd love to have 8 instead. Just small note, though, on what we're seeing economically in the game. Look at the bottom of the table. Deisik, who has been very carefully marshalling their resources. They have put a huge amount of money in, and I think they're either rolling down or leveling up, but either way, they're getting stronger.
Yeah, Dragonmancer and Evia seems pretty interesting right here, or you could be going for the Whispers and swap up to a Mirage, because you already have the Whispers potential. Now, the Shimmer skill is a little bit far, and yes, he will go for the Whisper, and I think the Whisper right now might be going as on Volibear for the meantime, to maybe get some of that, because he's able to stack it with his Chain Lightning pretty quickly, and yes, it is going to be the Whisper's Volley, but still looking for a second Whisper unit to drop it down. Might be the Thresh for the extra Guardian buff, swapped out with one of his units.
And we do have a little update in front of our eyes from Deisik, who we said was spending out the gold from before. They have found their first Pharaosaur. Suspicions have been confirmed, and the rest of the lobby better take notice.
Yup, everyone should put on their eyes out for the Whispers on the Volibear as well, because as soon as he can get that running, this Volibear will be unkillable. You might be having a Legend Dragonmancer game, and again, reminds me of that sweet old meta where the Volibear would just not die, and he has almost the perfect items for him. If he gets a Rage Blade on him and it's a Guardian Crest, very interesting, but he decides instead to go for the Dragon Horde, and it will be the Whispers. Deja confirmed 100% right now with that augment. Salvyyy might not as well lose a single round, by the way, if he can get the Deja early on.
Oh boy, I mean, the Dragon Horde, Dragon Lance, both those augments have proven to be exceptional in the tournament settings. We check across and see what Odesza is up to with their own augment choices. So a little bit less spicy, but a lot more, in the vein of just raw power they can put on the field right now, rather than the promise of later on.
Yeah, Best Friends is going to be the choice for Odesza. And luckily, finally, this is someone who can use the Best Friends. Looking at you. And yeah, I'm not going to say which player did not use them, but he was still able to win.
I mean, Mates wasn't holding back, so it's fine.
Yeah, finally another Best Friends, but this time it's actually going to get into use. And still rocking the Whisper's Volibear. As soon as he gets the Deja, we'll see a completely different outcome from this emblem on Salvyyy.
Yeah, I mean, this is really scary territory for everybody else. Just saying, Dragon Horde, both of the Dragon augments, as much as kind of set 7.5 basically integrated these augments into the game, they've been incredibly good tournament-wise. Makes it a great analysis of what we were seeing in previous events, and saying that, playing this augment and playing the comps around, just throwing out a ton of dragons on the field, nearly always gets you to a top 4 at least.
Yeah, it is so perfectly going on for him right now, and we see Odesza being dethroned from almost winning all rounds into another loss after another win and another loss again, having to bench finally the Israel because he gets that Corki, and the Hajj will definitely be swapped out to him. And we looking now at the board and the other augments of the players. We got the Thrill of the Hunt, we got the Spatalass, or that from Nocrum. I'm not sure which comp is Nocrum running right now, but there's a potential either Shimmer or Yasuo Cavalier on the Mirages. The Spatala opens up for a lot of potential builds, but I don't remember what Nocrum was playing actually. He might have transitioned to something else.
They were messing around with Scale Scorn a bit, so I wonder if we might be seeing them going down that route. That has been one of the comps we haven't been seeing getting played, and if you can pick together a 6 Scale Scorn comp, of course, it's ludicrously strong, but it's still playable at its lesser levels of strength. Let's see, we've got Salvyyy though, making their way through. They are currently on the 100 HP, and they've got their win streak going. It looks like with most of their damage dealers out of commission, that streak is going to be an end.
Yes, Darkest finally with their board, they're able to dethrone Salvyyy to become the undefeated champion right now with 5 wins. And now we're going off to another carousel. What would you be looking for here if you were Nocrum? I would love to take a look at his board to know what he's going to be doing with the Spatula Augment that he went for. But with the carousel, look at their items right now. Quite interesting.
Well, I just want to take a moment, actually, before we get into the items, just to make a mention. Our producer did a wonderful job of just checking back from the previous games to let us know that so far, Nocrum has won, we said coming into this one, they've won all of their lobbies so far. Lobby 1 with Xiaoyu Jades, again, a classic. Second with Siphon Trainers, pretty common. And then in their third round, they broke out something a little bit more unusual, which was Volibear Legends. And in this time round, I don't know what we're looking at here, because this is a bizarre setup, but they sure as heck know what they're doing.
Well, I'm not sure if this is going to be a 5 mage with maybe an Aoshin mage this game, or with the trainers you might be looking at a Siphon to buy some more and more time, but which mage is it going to be? It might also be Mage Sona, which combos pretty well with this composition because of the Evoker buff that gives it to the Lulu, and with the Mage Sona you can still put a lot of the pressure on the backline of the units. So Noira might be transitioning into Siphon Whisperers with the Mage Sona with that emblem, and that makes a lot of sense because that Olaf is just there as an item holder for now.
I check in with Kubixon, we can see that they are visiting J-Town as well. We put a lot of emphasis on Kubixon because, of course, from what we saw from them before, which has propelled them up to Table 1. That's a lot of pressure, but unfortunately for them, it's actually right now. We are down to just the 2 units remaining, so we've got the set up and up full power. I think it's going to be good enough to get past this Dana. Even with 3 items, the shield will come out, but I don't think it's good enough at this point, at least.
Yeah, remember when we did that intro about the Superbrawl, looking now at that set with the Trinity Force and all his slamming, it does seem like we're at WrestleMania right now, something with all these punches coming one after another, with the Trinity Force on set giving the win against Nocrum right here. Now, he still has the COU outside, but he's still not getting the Sona. Again, you'll be looking at a Siphon. This is the dragon that you need right now for the Mage Whisperers build, and that's one of the most classic dragons you'd be looking at. Every game almost has a Siphon, but with the Mage emblem given out right here, it's 100% going to be a Sona. I bet that Niberia is so happy right now, seeing Nocrum with a lovely... Yeah, and I look at him in the background, see, he's nodding. He's agreeing, by the way. I can see him very happy right now that Nocrum finally hit the Mage emblem. He's just waiting for the cherry on top of the cake, a Siphon and a Sona, and he's not going to be losing a single round.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see. Let's see what Arrow's got here. So, you see, they've got like a sort of collection of pretty okay units, but it doesn't look like at all they're in their end game position at all. And Arrow is taking a lot of damage. They're down to sub 40 already.
Yep.
And they've got to spend all that gold relatively soon if they're going to climb back up the table where we've got so many players, brubbba pushing down, Deisik pushing down as well. You've got a lobby with this many players, win streaking in it. You're gonna take some big hits.
Yeah, you took that from the tip of my tongue, by the way, because I was just gonna say that in this lobby, we've almost seen each and every one of these players able to rock down a 5-win streak until he's dethroned by another player, and the cycle goes on. Each and every one of them was able to head their power spikes at a specific point, and now we got the ones hitting the board are brubbba and Deisik with 4 wins in a row. So brubbba is currently the highest placed player with 6 win streaks, but he's only like 10 HP down from Salvyyy, who's only lost his last round, but with the Dragon Horde comp on him, he'll be pretty dominant with that Morello Shyvana.
Oh my gosh.
Scary units.
What are we seeing? Our players, we talked about at the beginning of this whole broadcast, our players are finding so many different ways through the game. I love as well that we're seeing more players kind of taking these Dragon Horde, Dragon Lance, and not necessarily throwing in every dragon they can find straight away, when you can put together a stronger board by supporting those dragons, enabling them, and eventually ending up with a pile of dragons, but not just as soon as possible.
Now, I would love if this swap happened between both of the Volley and the Shyvana to put the Goldmancer staff on the Shyvana with 80 gold stacked and cashed in the bank of Salvyyy. That Shyvana will be doing a lot of damage. Specifically, if you can apply that Jewel Gauntlet crit proc, maybe with the Celestial Blessing and the Omnivamp that she gets from the Rage Wing, she's going to be able to do a lot of damage. And see, that's the issue. The Volibear died way too fast, so you're not going to be able to output any damage after he dies because the Shyvana cast is going to be very delayed. If the Goldmaster staff was placed on her, I bet you that this backline would be completely obliterated in a moment.
I'm with you there as well. It's interesting from Salvyyy because they've got an absolute ton of money in the bank, as you'd expect from a Shimmer Scale player, but they don't have any Shimmer Scale augments who have to push them towards a Shimmer Scale late game. So presumably, we're going to be diverting away from that at some point to check in with brubbba, giving Deisik a boot to the face and keeping them on the only remaining win streak.
Ooh, and a Pandora's bench right here will not even be thought of because the second wind is gonna be better, shutting me completely down. Soon as I thought that we might be getting a Pandora's bench, she's like, no, shut up, I'm gonna go for a second wind. I love this augment so much. It creates room for so many chaotic builds. You can have a Zoe 3, you can have any unit that is 5-star plays and you just need to rely and wait on luck, but with Pandora's Bench. Now, this augment is magical. Yes, it solely relies on one thing, luck, that you buy any unit for the same cost and just hoping that it gets you your target. But brubbba shuts me down completely, so second wind is gonna be his chosen augment.
What I'm finding so fascinating about Brubba's border here is that we've got, oppressively generic augments. Every single one of the augments so far is completely applicable to any comp, and Brubba's doing incredibly well with it. 7 wins in a row up against Nocrum, and they're honestly fascinating board. Again, we are at table number 1, so if there's any place we expect to see our players showing us something surprising and different, it's here.
Yeah, and look at that damage coming up from the COU, by the way, with the Giant Slayers he has right now. Oh, no, there's no shield. That's actually a set. He was too huge with the Dragon Master.
Easy to confuse.
Yeah, I almost thought that he was a dragon, but he's a Dragon Master, not a dragon, so got me off guard a little bit right here with the Giant Slayer and the Hodge. Way too strong right now. Him and the Diana are the 2 main carries of their boards, and we got the fist fight right now. Who is going to be winning? The set is definitely backed up against the Diana right here. I mean, the Diana is backed up against the set with 2 more units. So I'll be able to pick up that win.
So I think, this is what we get at table 1. It's incredibly competitive. Nobody is win streaking right now in a significant way. We've got tons of money floating around in the economy, and Salvyyy finds the Ao Shin. Oh boy.
Oh.
We are setting up for an incredibly good late game full of all your favorite dragons.
Yeah, it's an Aurelian Soul right now swapping out immediately into the damage from this dragon. With the Dragon Horde, it's not going to be a Whispered Deja that I would have thought. And he's swaps it up last moment into... Wait, okay, I'm a little bit lost right here, but maybe with the Zonias on this Shyvana, you'll be hoping for some damage coming out from the Jewel Gauntlet again, but I don't think that this board can win against whoever it is, because the Bard, okay, look at that 7-man ulti coming right here for the Bard, with the clutch giving the Shyvana the time to set up for the breath again with the Jewel Gauntlet, way too strong with the COU. But the 1v1 between the two dragons is going to be going right now, and the COU is engaged with all that damage, and Salvyyy will not be getting a win in this fight.
Well, I mean, this is what we saw before in previous tournaments when people were, instead of running the Shyvana, they were running the Siphon instead. COU does such an incredible job of being the Dragon Killer, because Shyvana is spreading her damage across multiple units. It's great at clearing the board initially, but when ultimately the only unit that really matters is the COU standing at the end, it's not a good matchup at all.
I'm a little bit sad that I still didn't get to see that Pandora's bench, so I'm gonna be a little bit salty. I hope you can enjoy me crying in the corner right here over the Pandora's bench chance that is missed. I know I'm calling for some unrealistic stuff. Maybe getting a 3-star, 5-cost unit right here would be way too risky. But hey, look at me. I want more fun than actually just to see people winning, but they're here in this lobby. As you said, this is the hardest lobby that we've seen so far. Not a single person is win streaking, not a single person is still sitting on that throne. Everyone has had their fair shares of win streaks and loss streaks, and until the Treasure Dragon, again, we're not saying goodbye to any of our players. Now, the one player that is on the edge right now is Arrow, but he's still staying with us even after the Treasure Dragon. I hope. And here comes the Shyvana finally for Nocrum.
This is what we've been waiting for. What Nocrum has been building towards all game. It's getting the end game version of this board online as soon as is humanly possible. This is appalling news for everybody else, of course, because Nocrum, they are the player to beat in the lobby, completely undefeated so far, and they have just hit.
Yeah, and here comes the Shyvana, but with the Ascension, is not going to be able to survive at all, falling down against the COU of Darkest. Way too strong, this unit right now, and keep in mind that their COU is only 1 star, but Darkest still able to secure so many wins. Speaking of COUs, with the Rage Blade, 1v1s against the Deisik, with the Bloodthirster for another knockoff, and Deisik is getting another win because of the Rage Blade.
Oh my gosh. And Arrow, of course, as you can see here, they are building towards the Dragon Alliance. There's a little bit more defensive stats. They've got themselves the Nico in the center to hold it down, but I think Arrow's in some real trouble here. They're running out of cash, and of course, as you'd expect, we're not in set 7.5 yet. Playing dragons is still really expensive.
Yeah, and again, you're still not able to get a single 2-star dragon on this board right now, so it's quite unlucky. With the Dragon Horde, you'd be aiming and hoping for 2-star dragons, but here it goes, 1-star Siphon, 1-star Shyvana on the board, and with the Nico too, maybe you get a little bit of a front line right now, adding that Elise for some more sustain for the Shyvana to try and put in the damage with the Jewel Gauntlet, but I think Arrow is a little bit way too unlucky with the rerolls at level 7 for these dragons.
Yeah, I think Arrow is going to be heading for a swift exit. We are returning back to what we saw before, which is the 8th place player just getting punished by how strong these boards are. Holds on for now against Darkest, who, of course, can afford to take that hit. And it's worth noting, overall, we can see that our table is actually relatively close together, with the exception of Arrow.
Yeah, look at the gap between the first player and the last player. It's about 40 HP, but it keeps going like very, very close to this one. The champion duplicator looking pretty nice right here for a level 2 board, maybe. Salvyyy is thinking with these 60 gold he has in the bank, he might actually be able to look for a level 9 rush with that bod, maybe, throwing him instead of the Elise, so leveling up, but he has 6 Whispers, so what is the decision? Yes, he goes for the champion duplicator. I mean, might be looking at either a full Deja roll, because he already has 1 in a shop, and we might be getting Deja 3 with Whispers. I would die to see that.
I mean, Salvyyy might die to see that as well. At least they're up on the top of the table. They've got the most room they could possibly have to try and pull this off. I mean, yeah, as I said, if they go up to level 9, they only need to find 1 more Shyvana to get up to 2-star Shyvana immediately, and then they can just coast and wait and see if this will be a Deja 3 game. I still think they're in a super good spot from this point forward.
Oh, look at that the father Deja with his 2 baby Dejas waiting on the bench, ready to wreck it down already. They look pretty cute. We made a lot of Pokemon references this game, but they really be looking like Pokemon in this game. You can sell the Siphon and the bars. Maybe hope to get that level 9 for some dudes, but 6 Whispers on a Deja with a rapid fire cannon is gonna be quite hard to deal with in this lobby. Now, I don't remember what the Mirage effect is, but whatever it is, it's still very hard to deal against.
Oh, it's electric in this game, and I don't think we're going to be seeing a whole lot of impact from it. Unfortunately, there we go. Thank you very much, production, for giving us a little reminder at the top. Odesza, though, we haven't checked in with them for a little while, so they've got themselves a hugely strong cork in the back line. And of course, we've got, the disruption in the front line as well. I think for Arrow, this won't be an elimination, but it's still going to be a significant hit.
Yeah, still getting that bonk outside of the lobby on exactly 0 HP. Very demotivating to see such loss, but Arrow will be our first farewell from this lobby, and Nocrum right now standing with 13 HP. Now, Niberia was quite happy a few rounds ago, but you can look at him, you can see the disappointment on his face. The Italy bias will not be going in this lobby.
Oh boy, I mean, Arrow is, Arrow an amazingly good player, but we are at table 1. All of our players here are amazingly good. It's such a treat to see them all matched up directly against each other. Again, as we said right back at the start of this game, this could well be a preview, at least part of our final day, where there's only 8 players remaining.
Yeah, this might be one of the weirdest Dragon Alliance gameplays that I've ever seen, because mostly in a comp like this, you'd expect to see Deja as your carry, you'd expect to get Aoshin as your carry, but the Aurelion Soul without the mage effect might be a little bit hard to get wins right here for Deisik, so I really want to see how far he can survive with that Nocrum. Finally playing with the mage on the Anivia, completely gave up because I don't think that this Sona popped up in his shop at all. It would have been lovely to see a Sona maybe pop up, because it would have been way stronger, but it's fine. As long as you have the evoker effect, it will give you some sustain. Now, look at the damage coming out from the Sona and the Corki. With the Rage Blade and the Hurricanes, he might be able to win it again. Him right here, Odesza fighting up a lot of damage, and the Corki will fall down against the Tristana with the Ascension. Nocrum getting that thrill value.
Oh boy, but we're still in an area where Nocrum could easily not just take their first non-first game, but they could easily go out in the bottom 4, which of course opens up the top of the field for everybody else. Still, it's a hell of a run for the first 3 games. Kubixon, again, doing very well in our last on-stream game. They have got an enormously strong Siphon there, as well as a fully itemized Pike. That Infinity Force, he's going to be hitting like a truck, but Kubixon is out of cash at level 7. I don't think this board is going to change probably till the end of the game.
Yeah, and speaking about the end of the game, he only needs 1 more round to maybe get a chance at the carousel and look for better items for his front line, because he still has that Siphon on only level 1, so his only hope on the bike resetting. And here it goes, the first jump and the second jump, but this time it's stopped by the CC from the Own, and here it goes with the Shyvana being completely obliterative, and the Whispers Deja is gonna finish the job to give Kubixon a second farewell from our lobby alongside Arrow right now.
Oh boy, it's, I think this is a testament to how much pressure there is putting around here, that our players are ending up in those kind of positions. I suppose, it's an altruism of TFT. You don't want to die with money in your pocket, but It's got to be such an oppressive feeling to be down at the bottom of the table with no money and no way to get stronger.
Look at the emblems. Imagine he's actually able to get that Ace Whispers for the Deja, but I don't think that this Sona will be left for free, baby. Even worst case scenario could be the Zeeks, but okay, still doesn't manage to get it. And the Whispers is still over there for Salvyyy. I think he might be able to get it for the Deja.
Oh, boy.
Does he get it? Yes, he does get it. He does get it.
Salvyy's salvation, we'll call that one.
Oh my god. 8 Whispers, Deja?
Why settle for just 1 Whisper Dragon when you can have 2?
Wait, that's actually completely correct, but when he sub the items out of the Shyvana right now, he doesn't have any magnetic removers, so it might be a little bit risky. And with the Dragon Horde, again, with the Deja as your main carry, I don't think you want to put this on the Shyvana actually, but here it goes, and we might be seeing the Deja 3, we're 2 Dejas away from 8 Whispers potential. Oh, actually, 6 Whispers? I don't think he can get 8 here unless he sacrifices one of the dragons. Maybe to put 2 more Whispers units on the Deja. That wouldn't be so smart, don't you think?
Well, Salvyy's going to have a chance here to knock out Nocrum, which would be huge, again, for trying to get through that #1 spot. There's, of course, the pride on the line as the Whispers will work their magic. Even the invincibility frames won't keep them going through. And with so many dragons, that's a big L. And Nocrum takes their first non-winning lobby, going out in maybe 6th? No, it will be 5th.
Yeah, I told you that this lobby would be full of surprises. Guess what? Our champions from last game, Kubixon and Nocrum, are gonna be dethroned here into bottom 5. Kubixon from this round to 7th place, rocking up the win in the last lobby. This time he's one of the bottom 8, and not just any bottom, but the 7th place. And this is the beauty of this lobby. All the players right here are way too strong, and the gap is really small. But it is that 1 HP, it's that 1 round, it's that 2-star dragon that does all the difference and makes you go from a winner from a lobby to a 7th place in another.
For any of you guys who may be watching who are unfamiliar with Deisik, just a quick primer is that they've definitely thrown down the gauntlet this season, saying they're going to be playing on the world stage. That is, what they've just decided for themselves. They've certainly got a decent board to try and go up against the Jades here. Suddenly with all these dragons, they're very strong indeed, but the Aurelion Sol needs some time to work their magic.
Yeah, he still needs to stack up that Archangel because he's on level 1, and there goes the Jades, stacking up with HP, and the double redemption and the Ascension is finally coming into action, and that's all you need against the Aurelion Sol to stack up a little bit time for the Ascension to start working. But keep in mind, as he gets stronger, he's gonna be striking the entire board, but there's not enough damage coming up on the Shield, and he might be actually winning, and Deisik is still in the lobby because the Aurelion Sol has said his word, and he's gonna be getting a win against brubbba.
Oh my gosh, so we're left in here with the 3rd place and 4th place players, both around 20 HP, but Salvyyy, who is literally in this tournament just for the experience of playing tournament. They've already qualified through as our Golden Spatula Cup 1 winner, so they can't qualify again, but they're up to 8 Whispers. We are seeing the dream, Morgan. He wants to see realized the flight of dragons to triple Whisper Dragon in the lobby. This is the cap beyond capped.
Yeah, an entire Whisper board with Dragon Horde. What else could you ask for? You got a Shyvana to Whisper Shyvana. You were right. I will give you props for that, Mr. Counterfeit. You would have guessed that he would have had... You said it. Why have 1 Whispers Dragon? Well, you can have 2 Whispers Dragon, and he does listen and he does deliver. 8 Whispers with the Deja, Electric Overload, Celestial Blessing, and the Rapid Fire to make sure that no one can reach this back line. Now, his best case scenario is rolling up to that Pike 2, getting maybe a Siphon 2 as well, just to make the front line a little bit stronger. But he's rocking it 1st place with 20 gold, and there he goes, the Pike with 8 Whispers 2-star. Salvyyy is 100% winning this lobby.
Again and again we're seeing this, the players up at the very top, they're the only people who keep their economy going, because Salvyy's board gold worth is ridiculous right now with all these 2-star dragons coming in and the threat of a 3-star Deja as well. It just means that no one else can compete with this kind of raw power. We've got the attempts being made here by Deisik. We have at least got the 3 items on our friend Aurelion Sol, but it's down to the very end, and nothing, I think, can compete with the power of the Whispers.
And again, Deisik losing on 0 HP exactly from that battle, and you hate to see it. You would have had a chance maybe at 1 more. Again, it's only a matter of time until Salvyyy kills everyone, and you called it. Why have a single Whisper Dragon? You have 2? No, 3. Putting Siphon into consideration with 8 Whispers is unkillable. Now brubbba and Darkest are just competing on who's gonna be second, because imagining that you might win against Salvyyy with this board is like trying to live a dream. It's impossible. Salvyyy will not lose this game. It's only a matter of time until he gets the throne on this first place, and that is the beauty of this lobby. See, his first place, level 9 with 42 gold. He's just chilling.
Oh boy, so yeah, from our players we've got remaining here, Darkest on 20 points at the moment, Salvyyy on 20 points as well. So, the players up here at table 1, they're very, very likely to make it through to day 2, but they're still fighting this hard just to show each other exactly what they're made of.
Yeah, and there goes the Shyvana finally stomping on the back line, and the Pike comes back for the save against the Deisik. Even if you get to the back line, you still got the Pike for the save to obliterate whoever dares to come near that Deisik carry. 3 players still alive in this lobby. Brubbba does lose, and Darkest will survive with their 2 HP right now, maybe hoping to contest a second place against Brubbba.
And this will be, you say, if brubbba can make it through in second here, this will be significant for them. They're currently on 16 points, so they are below the very top of the table. Of course, Nocrum, pushing out the boat a bit in terms of the amount of points you could conceivably have at this point. But I'm fascinated to see what brubbba and Darkest try and do here. There must be some way to beat the Whisper board. I've just got no idea what it is.
Yeah, lucky enough, Darkest gets a chance against brubbba, not against Salvyyy, so he might have the chance for salvation and goes around and maybe second place. And here it goes, the Zephyr will be catching the nod. That's not what you wanted. You wanted him to maybe catch the COU, and luckily the Talon is going to be jumping onto the back line, but here it goes, the Jade Soraka healing again, giving him some additional support from the Nico. Gets it, but the Bard obliterates his back line with a lovely Tempered Fate, and again he's buying more and more time, but the COU decides that it's time to focus on the correct targets. Please give me this COU in my game, so he knows what's popping. He knows he has to go for the back line to remove the Sona from the blaze, and we got 2 major dragons fighting on the board, but it will be in the favor of Darkest as finally the Bard fires up 1 more shot, and brubbba will be destroying him to secure second place in this fight.
Oh my gosh. Darkest, still doing pretty darn well. Remember again, this is our top table, so even coming in third here is extremely impressive because you're fighting against the best players in the tournament. Salvyyy, though, it's quite a player to come in here and pull off a game like this on stream, of all things. Brubbba, again, they're very, very happy with where they are right now, even if they lose out here. I don't even know if they're going to make the changes to coming into last round, because I don't think they've got any hope of beating out Salvyy's board at all.
Well, I assure you he's already said his prayers. He's just packing his bags in order to go to the next lobby, because again, winning against 8 Whispers might be a little bit impossible in this lobby. I would like to see what formation you'd have. Even if you put everyone against the Deisik, your only hope would be an Assassin or a Thresh that stops this Deisik, but it's way too hard against this Whispers. And here you go. Yes, he's got the Talon jumping on the Deisik. But now what? He has Celestial Blessing, Talon will be leaving him from the back line, and he got the Shyvana going with the Boom and the Wind Blast with 8 Whispers and 3 Whisper Dragons. He's completely chilling as Salv dominates this lobby with 56 HP, kicking brubbba out of the lobby and winning with 56 HP, and he's gonna be our champion for round 4 with about 12 win streak at the end.
I mean, every single one of these games, our players are showing us new and more terrifying